Well, hello there, everybody. I'm talking to you today about the sounds of ED. So there are three sounds of ED. Our sounds that it makes are d, t, and id. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. So, here we go. There it goes. It's a little cranky today. Let's move this down and hide it. There we go. All right, so we have our three sounds, and like I was saying, ed is a suffix, and that is just a fancy word for a word ending. So they make three sounds. The first one is t, and that is like jumped or splashed. And then it can make the d sound, like smelled or banged. And it can also make the id sound, like folded or blended. But there's rules that go with it. So we're learning about when we would make those different sounds, because when you are reading, sometimes I'm hearing the same sounds and then your reading doesn't sound right. So let's learn the rules. There we go. I'm gonna have to move my, oh, I guess I'm okay. The picture can stay. So first, before we get started, let's learn about what a suffix is. Because I told you before that ed is a suffix. So what is a suffix? A suffix is a letter or a group of letters added to the end of a word to make a new word. So before I had showed you jumped, well, your root word was jump, and then we added our suffix ed. So we have play and full, and that makes our new word playful, or player. So you can see right here is our root word, and then we have our suffix. Our suffix today that we're looking at is ed. You can see over here we also have prefix. That is a group of words or a group of letters that goes at the beginning. We're not going to be working with that today. We just have to know what a root word is and a suffix. And we're only going to be working with ed words today. So what we need to know, first of all, I'm going to have to move me out of the way. There we go. Is since there's three rules that go with it, we need to know a little bit about something for our rules. So there's something that's going to help you, voiced or voiceless or unvoiced. So I'm going to need you to put your hand on your throat. So when you're talking, you should be able to feel some vibrations in your throat. So when you are talking and you can feel the vibrations, that's when it's voiced. So every letter will either make a voice sound or an unvoiced or voiceless sound. So when it's voiceless, your throat doesn't vibrate. But when it's voiced, your throat vibrates. So I want you to go ahead and put your hands on your throat right now. And I want you to say your name. Go ahead. Do you feel how your it kind of tickles your fingers a little bit? Yeah. So let's see how that works for us. Okay. So rule number 1. When ed sounds like t. So when does it sound like t? So it sounds like t when the ed follows voiceless consonants. Remember, that's when it doesn't make the tickle vibrations on your throat. And that would be for consonants like k, k, p, s, ks, ch, sh, f, k, f. And that's th like thick. So I want you to go ahead and put your hand on your throat, and I want you to say those sounds, okay? Go ahead. K, p, s, ks, ch, sh. So the last letter in the root word, remember that is our word right here. I have my dog with me today. He's learning about sounds of ed as well. The last letter in the root word is unvoiced. So what we see here in the word kiss It doesn't make any vibration on our fingers. Kiss is going to make the t sound. So we have kissed. And then over here, we have the word hope. So it's going to make hoped. I hoped that we would get to come back to school. And then I have the word laugh. I laughed at the funny joke and I fixed the problem. So the ed sounds like t when it follows any of the voiceless consonants. All right, let's check our next rule. And I'm going to have to move myself again. There we go. So rule number 2, ed sounds like d when ed follows voiced consonants. So anytime when you put your hand over your throat, anytime the consonants do make the vibration or that kind of tickle on your throat when you are touching it. So b, qu, j, t, m, n, v, w, y, z, and v, like then. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and do that with me? Put your hand on your throat so you can feel the voiced consonants. B, qu, j, t, m, n, v, w, y, z, v. And that's a voiced TH sound. Remember, that can be voiced and unvoiced. This is the voiced like then. So when the last letter is voiced, then it makes the d sound, okay? So we have right here, we have the word clean. So then the ed sound is going to make the d sound. Like I cleaned my room. And then I have the word over here, play. That makes that y. It's a voiced sound, voiced consonant. So I have played. And then I have snow, snowed, it snowed. And I cared about all of my students. Let's look at our third rule here. The rule number 3 is it sounds like id, or sometimes it'll show up as ed. It sounds like ed when the ed follows the consonant T or D, the root word does. So the last letter of the root word is a T or a D. Then it's going to make the ed sound. So right here I have the word want. So then it's going to make the ed sound. I wanted to go to school. Here my root word is faint. I'm looking for that last letter in the root word. I fainted after I rode my bike too long. All right, and then I have the word sound. The last letter in the root word is a D or a T, so it's going to make the ed sound. It sounded like a loud noise. And then we have a D or a T here for my last letter in the root word, so it's going to say ed. I landed on the moon when I went to outer space. So there's our 3 rules. So we're going to do a little application with it today. So we know our 3 rules here. We are going to do a little bit of application for it. So you are going to be getting a PDF version of this word sort. So we have ed as t, ed as d, and ed as ed. And you're going to have to read all of the words. It's not this one. I have one that's similar for you. But if you can do it a few different ways, you're going to have to read the words and you're going to have to look at the rules. Your paper has the rules written on it. You're going to have to figure out what sound does the word make. Does it make the d sound, the t sound, or the ed sound? And put them in the categories. So you can do it a few different ways. You can print out the paper and cut out the words and sort them. And then you can glue them down, you can write them, and then take a picture of your work and email it to Mrs. Maynard, Mrs. Frohwein, or myself. You can write the words on notebook paper with the words in the right columns, and take a picture of your work and email it to Mrs. Maynard, Mrs. Frohwein, or myself. Or you can type your responses with the words sorted in the correct sounds of ED categories, and then email it again. And if you have time, if there is a book you're reading, I want you to look for ED words and I want you to categorize them. Do they make the d sound? Do they make the t sound? Or do they make the id sound? I bet now that you know the 3 rules, you are going to be much better at figuring out the correct sound that you need when you are reading. Um, so now you know that our suffix ed makes three different sounds, and you are ready to rock all of your reading. So, thank you for listening with me today.